Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the first instalment in my anticipated releases videos for 2023. So this is a series of videos that I have been doing for the past couple of years now, so I will link the playlist down below and up here, up somewhere and down below. So if you want to check out any of my anticipated releases for 2021 and 2022, then you can do. But here we are once again looking at January, February and March, because I do these in quarterly installments, so looking at 3 months worth of anticipated releases. I feel like January is a really big month for releases, so I hadn't realised this until I was compiling the list, and then I was literally like, why is everything coming out in January? Like, a lot of things are coming out in January. I don't know if it's because January is so much closer as of right now, that I've been hearing much more buzz about the January releases than the February and March ones. Potentially by the time we get to March, there might be more March releases. I'm like, oh, that sounds really good. Oh, I'm really excited about that. But as of right now, it feels like it's very much January. But also, you will have to let me know if there are any anticipated releases that I miss in this list that you are really anticipating for the first 3 months of 2023. I do also want to say that the release dates on here are the UK release dates. Typically UK releases books on Thursdays, the US on Tuesdays. Sometimes we do it on the same day, but there might be like a couple of days out between the releases because I got all of my releases from UK Amazon. In date order, on the 10th of January, Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo comes out. This is the sequel to Ninth House. Finally, we're getting the Ninth House sequel. It has been years. It has been like 4 years because Ninth House came out in 2019. And I think that's when I read it and I really, really enjoyed it. I definitely have to reread Ninth House to get to Hellbent because it has been so long since I read Ninth House. However much I loved it and really enjoyed it, the details have definitely gone from my brain. But Ninth House, you're following Alex Stern, who is enrolled at Yale, and she has got her position because she is able to see ghosts, and there are different secret societies at Yale, and she is there to sort of make sure that they are not doing anything untoward with the sort of arcane powers and the ghosts. At the start of the book, a woman is found dead, and she expects that it is something to do with one of the secret societies at Yale and sort of the investigations that goes on to figure out what's happened to this woman. So it definitely ended on a cliffhanger, so very excited to see where this goes. Part of me wants to know how many books are planned for the Ninth House series. Is it a trilogy? Is it a wider series? In my head, I thought it was going to be a bigger series, like a much bigger series. But now it's been so long since book one, and part of me is questioning, like, is it just going to be a trilogy? Is it 4 or 5? I don't even know how many books. If anybody knows how many books the Ninth House series is going to be, please let me know. Also, on the 10th of January, big day, we have Spare by Prince Harry coming out. A little bit different, not so fantasy, it's a biography. But I've recently been watching the Harry and Meghan documentary that's been on Netflix. As of filming this, I've watched the first 3 episodes, and the second lot of 3 episodes has just come out, and I haven't started watching that one yet. But I'm intrigued. I'm just intrigued by the whole thing. And I like Prince Harry. I think he's a good egg. As far as he can be, a good egg. I mean, compared to like some of the other royals, he's definitely a good egg. I don't know if and when I would personally get to it, but I do think it will be intriguing to see. I don't quite know like the process. Okay, motorbike. I don't quite know the process that has gone into writing it. I assume he's had a ghostwriter help him write his biography. I don't know what topics he like discusses in it, but I just feel for the guy. I really feel for the guy, and it's quite like interesting, like being on like I'm not really on Twitter, but like going through Twitter and seeing like some people really supporting Harry and Meghan and some people really against them, and like seeing the two sides and people like chatting about it and how some people like hate him and Meghan and some people like really support them. And I don't know if it's like if there's a difference between countries, like people who are more from the US are more supportive of them and people from the UK are less supportive. And also from watching the documentary, it's obviously them telling their story, and you wonder what the other side is as well, that it's going to be biased towards what they're saying. And the same with this biography, it's going to be biased. I feel like it'll be a good one to like listen to and just have an audiobook. Slightly different from the normal fantasy that I read. And then the final book on the 10th of January is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first in his secret projects that he has coming out in 2023. So from looking at this, it looks as though the Kindle book is going to be available on the 10th of January, but the physical book is not going to be available until the 4th of April. And that's for us that didn't go in for the Kickstarter. That's at least the publication dates on Amazon for me in the UK, Glance publications, which I think is a little bit weird. I haven't looked into like the synopsis of this. I know it's like a Cosmere book, and that it's one of 4, and it was all part of his like Kickstarter campaign, where he had these secret projects that he was releasing, and then he was selling them and people could buy in, and they could either get like just the electronic editions, or they could get like the full physical books. And I was tempted, but like the physical books pretty much doubled in price by the time it got over to me in the UK with the shipping. So I didn't go in for it, and I'm not much of an ebook reader, so I would want a physical copy. But I was like, it will get picked up by publishers. It will. I was like, okay, if they're coming out in 2023, maybe the publishers will pick them up in 2024. But wouldn't you be really annoyed if you went in for the Kickstarter and you just got the electronic edition, which were pretty pricey, to then see that they're going to be available on Amazon, on Kindle, with the traditional publisher on the 10th of January? I don't know, it just seems a little bit weird to me. I'm not affected because I didn't go in for anything, so I haven't lost out on anything. But like, it's significantly cheaper to now just go in and buy the Kindle edition on the 10th of January when it gets released from Glance than have gone in for the Kickstarter ebooks. I was always anticipating that even if it got picked up by publishers, I would have to wait. And I was okay waiting for, I don't know, 6 months to a year after the people that paid for and got the Kickstarter. I was prepared for that when I didn't go in for the Kickstarter. You're going in for the Kickstarter to get something exclusive, and you haven't really got anything exclusive if the publishers are now giving it to you on the same day, if not before, it may be, the Kickstarter campaign. Because I anticipate that the people that ordered, I don't know, the hardback editions of this first book are not going to get it on the 10th of January here in the UK, not with the postage the way it is right now, not with Royal Mail being on its like gazillionth strike of the year. For me, I will wait until the 4th of April and get the physical copy when Glance publish it. But it's just come around a lot quicker than I anticipated it would be. I thought there would be some sort of embargo on it, but maybe not. But there we go, there's that. Moving on the 12th of January, The Daughters of Izdihar is coming out by Hadir Elsbay. This is the first book in a duology by her. I actually have an ARC edition that I was sent from Orbit, and this you are following 2 females. One of them is trapped in an arranged marriage to a man she doesn't love, and she dreams of attending this sort of academy where she can train her magical abilities. And then you're also following Georgina, who is a bookseller, and she also has these powers. And I think these 2 women meet at this society called the Daughters of Izdihar, a women's rights group fighting for freedom. And I think it's sort of got this like Egyptian inspired setting. I think this is going to be really good for filling the void of S.A. Chakraborty and the David Batch trilogy. Part of me, I think, wants to do like a reading vlog of reading books that have the same City of Brass vibe, and seeing if I can find a City of Brass, like not replacement, but like filling the void of it, because I think I have a few. I have this one, I have Girls Up in Thorn, I have The Stardust Thief, so I have 3 there that I think could be like good testers to see how they compare to my like favourite series of all time before we get to March, where there is an S.A. Chakraborty book coming out. Then a week later, on the 19th of January, there is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett comes out. This again I was sent from Orbit, and this you're following Emily Wilde, who is a expert on the study of fairies, and she goes off to this island or village or like middle of nowhere to investigate these fairies, where she comes into contact with one of her rivals, and I think there's some cute romance between them as she uncovers like secrets to do with fairies and as well to do with her heart. And I just feel like this is going to be really, really cute and fun, and I'm going to really enjoy seeing the fairies and the romance. In my head, I'm anticipating this being in the same vein as Half a Soul, and that sort of like fun, cutesy, historical romance with fairies. And then the final book for January, coming out on the 31st of January, is Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare, the 3rd and final book in the Last Hours trilogy. So I have read Chain of Gold, I own Chain of Iron, and I will at some point read Chain of Thorns. So this is her latest book in the Shadow Hunter world. I pretty much have read everything, nearly. not quite all. I think there's some short stories that I haven't read, but I've read the bulk of the Shadowhunter universe through many years of reading. I think probably started like 10-ish years ago, maybe more than that now. I've read it all. I find them very fun, bingeable, easy to read, like just very compulsively readable stories. When I read Chain of Gold, it was when like COVID had literally just hit and I just needed something really light and compulsively readable. I think I started reading The Lies of Locke Lamora, didn't get very far into it because I was just like, I can't deal with this right now. I need some levity, I need some angst, I need some drama, and that's when I read that one. So it's that sort of like mind distracting books. I mean, when I started reading her books, it was when I was doing exams, so it like that sort of distraction and trying to distract from like if things aren't going so well. That third and final book comes out at the end of January. So those are the January releases. As I said, there's quite a few there. I have less releases that I am aware of for February and March, but in February I have two. So I have The Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan, which is the second book in the Justice of Kings series by him. This one comes out on the 14th of February. So I read The Justice of Kings last year, really enjoyed it. You were following Conrad von Volt, and he is a judge, jury, executioner. So he goes from town to town in this empire, acting out justice in the towns and officiating on different cases, and you follow them as they try and piece together the events in a case and a murder. And it's all told through the perspective of his young assistant, Helena. So I'm definitely intrigued to see where this second book goes. I believe the world is going to expand in it a little bit more. That the first book felt, this is my hope for it, that the first book felt a little bit insular on this one case, whereas I feel as though things are definitely going to get broader and wider, and we're going to get much more world expansion in the sequel. I hope. That's what I really hope. And then at the end of February on the 28th, we have A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. This is a prequel to Priory of the Orange Tree, right there. I think it's just as big as Priory of the Orange Tree, so a chunky book. I haven't looked too much into the plot of it at all. So it looks like we're following different people who are part of the original Priory, which was like a group of women in this world. Different queendoms, kingdoms, dragons, and the threats that they have to face that are going to impact the world as they know it. It doesn't. The description is actually pretty vague, but so I do wonder exactly what it's going to cover in these 880 pages. So rather chunky, but I mean the cover's beautiful, and that's all I really need to know. I really like Priory of the Orange Tree, so I'm definitely going to buy A Day of Fallen Night and go in for it, definitely 100%, even though I don't really know that much about it. So that is February. So you see what I mean? Literally everything's coming out in January. 2 in February are the ones that I'm anticipating as of right now, and 2 in March. So I feel as though I must be missing things. I must be missing things from February and March, because how can I only have 2 anticipated releases in each month after having like 6 in January? So moving into March, one of my most anticipated releases the whole year. Like, I'm so anticipating this book. I'm one of those people, I talk about how I have these series and where I'm trying to not start incomplete series, I'm trying to just read series that are complete. No, that goes completely out of the water, because S.A. Chakraborty has a new book coming out called The Adventures of Amina El-Sarifi, and I'm going to read it straight away because S.A. Chakraborty is like my favourite author, or one of them. Her, John Gwynne, like favourite author. I love, where has it gone? I absolutely love the Dagobah trilogy. I adore that series. I've read it like 3 times. I have a whole video review of this trilogy. So this book is coming out in March, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to read it. I'm going to have it. I'm going to cherish it, and it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I haven't looked too much into the plot of it because I just know that I'm going to buy it and read it. So it's a new trilogy of magic and mayhem on the high seas in this tale of pirates and sorcerers, forbidden artifacts and ancient mysteries in one woman's determined quest to seize a final chance of glory and write her own legend. And I assume we're following Amina Al-Sarifi, Amina Al-Sarifi, and I think she's our pirate. I think we've got like some enemies to lovers, to enemies, to like friends, to who even knows what with the romance. I mean, I really like the way that she did romance in the Dagobah trilogy, and sort of it doesn't take over from the whole plot, but it's there, and I was rooting for it all the way. I'm rooting for this book. This book, please meet my expectations, because my expectations are so high. And then the final one that I have coming out in March is the Foxglove King, the first book in the Nightshade Kingdom trilogy, I believe, by Hannah Witten. She wrote For the Wolf and For the Throne, which I enjoyed. I didn't love them, but I enjoyed them this year, and this one has an interesting premise. So in this lush romantic new epic fantasy series, a young woman's secret power to raise the dead plunges her into the dangerous and glamorous world of the sainted king's royal court. So it looks as though she gets taken into this court where she is compelled to use her magic or be killed. And in this court, no one can be believed, even fewer can be trusted. Our main character tangles in politics, religion, and forbidden romance as she attempts to navigate a debauched and opulent society. I feel like there were some like clunky aspects a little bit with the For the Wolf and For the Throne. Like, I enjoyed them, but they weren't perfect. But hopefully, as this is now going to be her third book, she'll be even more polished, and that I will really enjoy this one. So those are 10 anticipated releases for the first 3 months of the year. Please let me know if you have any anticipated releases that I have not mentioned here today, so that I can put them on my radar, because there's definitely going to be more out there. I'm 100% sure there's going to be so many more anticipated releases out there that I've missed. Hopefully I've put some books on your radar today. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!